Beko adwuma bebe beba no wano wonsa no. Ti beko ye complain da bia na me ye complain. Still na wonjai.
Aduane mpominti me fa bi nkoma no. Me hwe sede na ositie nenne waye sana me ne da me kodemo a mani ntumi nka nguso echese ne hwene boyi nyina si mananu mu nko a no homefa odidi kakra na home ne kra eye atua nti ontimi nidi eno ani koko ane fanta nko a no wono nti sesi a me home ewo me eda me yem no ete ti mi sraboafo ye no me
no other to watch me so now woman what be woman e play what be titimata din e wo kolo dipam.
As a woman that society adores, then you have to endure
till death.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. It shouldn't happen that way. No one should endure abuse to the point of death. It is needless.
The Commonwealth Human Rights Initiative recently described as alarming increase in spousal killings as the worst form of domestic violence in Ghana. A release by the Human Rights Advocacy Center in 2012 indicated that 2 spousal murders take place every month. 25-year-old Ivasa Kodie is a JHS graduate. She completed her basic education in 2005 with her younger sister. Her dream of becoming a nurse was shattered when she had to stay home to make way for the younger sister to advance to the SHS level due to financial difficulties. Ivasa Kodie then ventured into petty trading to make ends meet. The business collapsed. 6 years ago, she met 35-year-old taxi driver Kwame Danso, popularly known as Kwame Alolo, at Bibiani, to whom she got married.
Me kuna nechi na nechi ne papa fie eti na ye na me ba fo na ne wo fie ho eti de bia na tokwa ena bekobo me papa amane ena papa ka che me se o dan wo gidi new site etino aka membe wo me konko tena ho me do aduane wi a na makobe ba no ho eti be ma no so ye jealous so hu se me di be ba bi edi nkoma na be fi o ne me ko na o be bo me eti no me pa me ka chen se papa se mi tu no e mo no so sisa ne niema edi machi ti okotana me papa dan no for 2 years ye me father na na eti na de bia chokwa okase no aduane we isi ho a oba o de monsa so no kakra na upremia na me hu se sa oni wi so no na me ne wo na me dim se ono bi na isa de me dim se oni monsa no na asema nya sembi akora na obo mi ginsen ntokwa toko baduane ho sema na ode ne na ewo ma yase e ma ginsen ne seye enti me father here be yokono ani susu na o se ne sade a be ma ni etu ko ne father fie na anasa onko friend na wo fombra na de wi atokwa ne si koso na ebi adako de ade be bo me na ma sorry bi enti e ma be ma ni tu fie ho ti me fa se ye ba be di bronya ne mo nyina na onti fie ho na me ne wo kwara mienu penyin wo 4 years ketu ne wo 2 years enti no okono ofa bema penyin no koma ne ma no fie ho na ka oba ketu ne wo me ho na oba ketu na so wo me ho nti or the 5 cities ba ebi wo ho 2 weeks na on fa bi mo bae me so na me nya adwuma bia enti no e ba me ka se mitimi hia akwara no.
Men who abuse women, will I be right to say they feel inadequate?
Well, a very confident man who is balanced, you know, believes in himself as a worthwhile, competent person without any insecurities, will not abuse a man. I don't see that man really abusing a woman. It is only when there are some insecurities, where the man feels threatened by the upward mobility of a spouse, that he begins to evidence that form of insecurities in the form of abuse. So, a well-balanced, confident, secured man will be the last person to really abuse a woman.
What goes on? You see, I'm having a lot of difficulty understanding at the point where, in this woman's case, where the man pours an acid on her. As he was in the process, picking up that acid and pouring it on the woman, what was in his mind? I'm just wondering, what was in his mind?
Where he belongs, where she belongs. If she's not going to be submissive, if she's not going to allow me to have my way, then she wouldn't have her way. It is coming to a point, definitely, the way the relationship is going, she might leave me in the mind of the mind. And if I wouldn't have you, no one else should have you. So that is it. And so that leads to the throwing of acid and maiming the woman, disfiguring her, to be precise. Nobody will be interested in her. And that is what is it, putting her where he belongs, showing her where power really is. So it is an exercise of brute force, unreasonable exercise of power.
Do they, the men who eventually abuse their wives or vice versa, do they select specific places to kind of deform the person at? This girl, it was all over her. Some might choose the face or the leg or...
Well, obviously, yeah, it's targeted. It's targeted, particularly your face. That is why sometimes it's sexual, because it's sexual and gender-based violence. Because oftentimes when you see where women are hurt, it is either the face, the breast, either they are raped sexually and they are genital molested, disfigured, and also anything seen as feminine is really mutilated. It's abuse. So it is. That is why women suffer some form of abuse simply because they are women, and for no apparent reason. You can talk about female genital mutilation. You can talk about some harmful widowhood practices. It is targeted at women for just the reason that they are women and not any other reason. So that's why it is gender based. Because you are a woman, you are a chattel. That is the thinking. And anything can be done to you to keep you where you belong, where you should be per the expectation of society. It is called gender-based because certain aspects, women are targeted, and oftentimes certain aspects of their body, that is where women are sexualized, are targeted to deform them, to reduce them to nothing. So the face, the breast, sometimes the hair is held and pulled, just to disfigure the person. Some men will just take scissors and just cut the perm hair, or just like that. That your femininity is under attack.
Ebi wɔ hɔ ɔkɔ adwuma ɔbɛyi sika toɔ sɛ wɔ fufuo ɔba ɔbɛka kyerɛ fufuo na bɛwɔ esi ɔba ɔbɛka kyerɛ sɛ ɔka kyerɛ sɛ no amɔ ɛno no ɛnam sɛ wɔn mo nsa kakra ne ti no ɔkɔ kapɛ na ɔde ntɔkwatɔkwa na kyerɛ sɛ ɔbɛbɔ wɔn ano no nti no edidi maa na ne papa maa ne tu firi fie hɔ a ɔde akwara bɛrima no kɔ ɔbaa no wɔ mi hɔ ɔde ɔbaa ne sika 5 cedis ba ebi wɔ hɔ 2 weeks na mi hu ne bi.
People are in abusive relationships. Is it that they don't see it coming?
Well, oftentimes they see it coming, even at the very beginning, at the very foundation of the relationship, but they ignore, because the desire to have the man or the partner overrides any appreciation of dangers. I want to have you first. And so the relationship is more important to me than my life. Clearly, oftentimes the signals are there on the wall, but they overlooked. Assuming that the partner will change when we tie the knot, or even where there is not any tying of knot, the partner will change over time. But that is it's a deception of the highest order. The partner will not change, particularly if it's a man, will not change. And so the lure of the man changing will keep a woman in there. And the very premium that is put on the relationship will also keep a woman there. And it is tied to the whole sociocultural expectation, the premium we put on relationship, particularly for women to be attached at all costs, regardless of who she is attached to. She must have a man. So that could be a serious pressure on any woman to stay in an abusive relationship. Now, where to go? It's also one factor that could put a woman in that situation. Because there is nowhere to go. There is nowhere to go simply because when she tells this story to her kith and kin, sometimes they don't believe them. They don't just believe them. And so already there is a push factor at home to get out. And you go and just inform your parents about what you're going through. And your mom will tell you about her experience. And that is the way relationship goes. Just stay in there and do your best. The health of a relationship is always put on the head of a woman. And so once the woman really said, I'm tired, then the relationship begins to tumble. And then when we talk about disbelieving the story of a woman when she reports of abuse, it is not only family members, even state agencies that look at these issues. You can imagine walking into a police station, and then you report about going through abusive relationship, and the first response you hear is that, that is the way the marriage should be, or that is not the truth, or why do you want to put your spouse in trouble?
Or what did you do before he did that?
What did you do wrong? You know, and especially when you're a woman of class, in quote, I'm using this word advisedly, you know what you're about. Sometimes, erroneously, it puts some people off. Those who are very steeped in tradition, you are well dressed, you have some low cut here, you are well dressed, and so it puts them completely off. Because they want to see a married woman or a decent woman, a so-called virtuous woman in a certain apparel. And you are not that. You are wearing a certain shirt, skirt, suit, some attire, some a bit revealing. And then you are already put in a certain pigeonhole. You don't respect. And so yes, definitely you are going through what you are going through because you are disrespectful of your husband or of your partner. I think that is unacceptable.
New old station or boy is which he takes will be near Toy Giano to whatever we do. If I show yet 2 years and son obey me 1 day, you are in so 4 years, man.
Eva has 2 children with Kwame, but confesses she never enjoyed her marriage.
If I shine 4 years, man, the crabby will fee 2 years. It's with 2 course, and now, or the Ukrainian Susika baby or 2 weeks, never holding that. And I'm with the Ukraino, a cook man of mine, Miss Misso, me, you may be, and some now, but I papa say, Cofrewa for Benji say, your twins are good so a jar. It is a winty mission, me shall Corani dear. And dear, Miss Media Corani broad warrior, my video me near Juma. It's with the Ukraino command, my never miss out the Ukrainian brand.
Efforts made by Eva to go back into business with the support from her husband proved futile. This, among many factors, did not go down well with her. Eva tells us she couldn't withstand the situation any longer and therefore sought for divorce to find a job in order to take good care of her children. Eva says her ex-husband suspected her of going out with another man because her life apparently changed.
No, I bet watch him so now, woman. What's in the woman, a play, what you bet it Matadina, a wookulu dipum, and I see me to
On 25th April 2013, at about 9:45 p.m., Kwame Danso went to the woman to take back a DVD player he bought for her when they were lovers. Immediately she opened the door, Kwame Danso allegedly threw acid on her, burning her face, chest, back, and other parts of her body.
See, Tomo too free feel Thursday, we travel 4 months. It's 1 for credit come, but it's here so young, Cohoco it's 4 months, but that then one that would become more crew. I catch him, said, oh, to know Jale deck or. Into a baby deck, sometimes now Corona Macquain to or before banners who command the mammy to a catch him so baby or banners so near me. It's a new remedy, the honor of it is a wee both for it. And a papa besides, no say a milk me. It's what I say, milk and I'm sure a sudden I made a deck and a Corona near man and over baby. See, my miss sorry ye deck and a be ye a crying in the Masubu rubber and that be the question or quite. It's a main no crockery, a blue sur a blue for. It may be a sword and be from the sana. I say Nikitan, Eshanechi. It may be from the Anna or two, Miss Super Coupe, and no Jane. There be. Oh, Offre. Tama or she, a good Miss Demiko Hospital. Actually, bar or Tosumino, Ebba Hobe catcher may say. Tama ye me papa mo de me call hospital no on the boy no e be fi hosan be bisa amase na boy ne so free bi o say na down for now o twine ma me taxi no ono odi ni dwa na ye.
Their children, 4-year-old Kwame and Margaret too, are no more in school because Eva cannot afford to pay their fees in her critical state.
You can also appreciate the socioeconomic status of women generally.
Okay.
That could also be a deciding factor why they stay in there, because oftentimes women are not economically empowered. It is the man who goes in there and comes. I have had a situation where a woman a teacher for that matter, her monthly salary, as soon as she collects it, everything is given to the man, and the man decides how it is spent.
So we can say that the abuses and everything we are having has something to do with our culture.
Absolutely yes, absolutely yes, absolutely yes, because it happens within a sociocultural context. What we call patriarchy, the fact that we believe as a society, we believe in the superiority of men. Okay. And this happens to be a global stuff. Since the creation of the world, in the church it happens, outside the church it happens. The superiority of men and the inferiority of women. Women are second class. It is there. And so you must really be in queue. You must really accept and live this expectation. When you try to offset this balance as a woman, then you are brought in line through violence. So a woman who tries to be herself, try to assert herself, is always punished.
Yeah.
You know, for being too low, for being overly straightforward, and that is not what an ideal woman per cultural standard is supposed to be. And so you are brought back in line.
Comforter Hinkra is Eva's mother. She bemoans her financial challenges after the acid attack. The father of the victim lamented over the incident and appealed for help. The Bibiani District Police Command has confirmed the incident to JN Exclusive, but the police are yet to apprehend the culprit, who is currently in hiding. Just within a month, the district recorded 2 acid attacks with 1 failed attempt. Miserably, Eva would not have her normal body back and might also lose her sight. However, the children's future is her concern now. On our next trip to Bibiani to find out how the victim is coping with life, we gathered that the suspect had called to threaten he will separate the children from their mother.
From 1 week winning of Frey, last week Sunday, and run the week no Frey. Or Frey was so catch me say, Obema will be a Bessisa in Qualano, Abelano or Babia or one. Or Obisame said me what said I'm seeing a mere domehoye. I know I say in Qualano when I'm some woman chain. I know myself I'm more one of the only of one casa. With the Bema is a one, you may hear Sydney Biogunus into 1 G. Into one I'm catching this or see, who may hear the Gunness into 1 casa. I know I say Qualana Beban and Chewa Bella, Menidana, or Bembo be a Bessisa in Qualana Bren or Babia, or one or Bella Menida so. One I'm a captive phone.
The news team later asked Eva to get in touch with Kwame on phone again.
The network is not
Unfortunately, we could not reach him. Her suffering has been increasing on a daily basis after the incident. Eva says she is living on a thin thread. She now lives on fluids since she cannot swallow food. Life is complicated for this 25-year-old woman. Not only does she have to cover her face, her ambitions, dreams, thoughts, desires have also been covered in this anger and pain she feels every day. People only see a bent and ugly face. She has lost social life because she cannot step outside the house. Eva has completely lost 1 eye due to the acid attack from her ex-husband. She had to clean her eyes several times during the interview. She cannot breathe properly because her nostrils also got bent. Eva needs help to regain faith and look ahead for her long battle with life.
Me mama me papa na ehwa kwala ne sisi mama. Me mama so ye twoba enko enhyeda enye ke eyisa. Isi no enti ema no enti be ma penye no waje school. Sika semti waje school ti fie. Ti sisi Naka wasa me koji kwala ko me doctor be 2 weeks ni. Ye just ka kwala ne fanko hospital. Ebi okra ye solia. Ye de beto aduane ama kwala ne kwala. Ya na eho de. Me san to a me school ni so. Ba sisi ye we na tie form 1 me. E ka me nya adwuma. E betimi aboa me betimi di ahwe. E kwala no e school a. It
is called gender-based because certain aspects, women are targeted, and oftentimes certain aspects of their body, you know, that is where women are sexualized, you know, are targeted to deform them, to reduce them to nothing. So the face, the breast, sometimes the hair is held and pulled you know, just to disfigure the person, you know. Some men will just take scissors and just cut the perm hair, or just like that. You know, that your femininity is under attack.
Now, what can be done for these men? I don't want to say what can be done to them, because I'm looking at reforming them. What can be done?
Well, a whole lot of things can be done. First of all, the society must not tolerate. There must be zero tolerance for abuse in society. That, you know, sends a certain signal that is not acceptable. Because what actually happens over time is that impunity sets in. The man is not held accountable, and where impunity reigns, you know, atrocities abound. Because the person does it, nobody holds him accountable for that, and he continues. And I think one thing, you have asked about men, but I think one thing women also should understand, that abuse escalates. When you do not take action, you know, at the slightest abuse you experience, don't think that, oh, this is nothing. Oh, okay, it's a foot in the door. It will escalate. It will escalate. It escalates as impunity also grows. And so the slightest abuse you experience, deal with it with even, as they say, bulldozer. You know, if it's just a mosquito bite, don't just underestimate that mosquito in a man, because that mosquito could become a very deadly something. And of course, even mosquitoes can give you malaria. And
exactly,
you die.
exactly.
So it escalates. So it is just the whole society saying that we will not accept violence. It's unacceptable. And then we can talk about the general upbringing. You know, remember that violence is a learned behavior.
Okay.
And as we grow in abusive relationship, it's not only the man or the woman who is in there. The children are there. They are watching, you know, and children learn by observation. And they realize that abuse actually works because their father gets his way at any time. And so they learn to use abuse as a means of resolving conflicts in order to get their way. So if we can really look at that, you know, the home, bringing children up not to think that the way to resolving conflict and to having your way is always using violence, it will go a long way to deal with some of these issues. And again, well, we'll have to work with boys in particular.
Okay.
We have to work with boys, and to let boys understand that the meaning of who a man is. There is this erroneous impression of just being masculinity being just being macho, being abrasive, being, you know, hasty in all your decisions, very impulsive. We must really try to reorient society, particularly our young boys, that a real man is a very confident person, very sensitive person. A real man also has a feminine side, you know, and there is nothing wrong with a man being soft and cool and still being firm. You know, oftentimes when a young boy starts exhibiting such tendencies, you know the kind of stereotype.
Yeah.
You must be gay, you must be gay, and so people really do not want to exhibit that side, but it is in us.
Her burns are horribly visible, stretching from her face, down her neck, and across the upper parts of her body. Injuries which Yvette's parents describe as beyond imagination. Eva needs plastic surgery, but the family cannot afford.
Ono ye nipa bi a oye din enti na me nim se saa te bia no na ewo ni mu. Ho ina me na wo kwala na wi. Okay, sisi ene de se na your call doctor na prefer sen ka your call South African koye plastic surgery. Na sisi enso me papa wonye adwuma na me ma me nso na adwuma no sem no wo fo. Eti me akata so de me yale me hye fie enti no. Me ti we nye bibia fo enti na ji se adofo no na bo me ma ye kokoye ba me. Your call doctor na prefer sen ka your call South African koye plastic surgery. Na sisi enso me papa wonye adwuma na me ma me nso na adwuma no sem no wo fo. Eti me akata so de me yale me hye fie enti no. Me ti we nye bibia fo enti na ji se adofo no na bo me ma ye kokoye ba me.
I was sad. I even fainted when I saw her because looking at the small children, in fact, and in our family too, we are not having enough money. Looking at how the husband has done to him, I was very sad. It was my sister's son's birthday. Then I tried to call him that he should give the phone to the boy so that I can wish him happy birthday. Then he told me that he wasn't around. And I asked him, where is he? Then he told me that he has poured acid on my sister, so he has run away. She is not in town. Yeah. I thought it was a joke, so I have to call home and I heard all these things.
Eva's mother, who runs a mini restaurant, is gradually giving up because the skirmish is collapsing her business. She explains that spending time with the victim at the hospital is stalling the progress of her business. Her 4-year-old son Kwesi and 2-year-old daughter Margaret are out of school due to the financial constraints. Kwesi and Margaret idle at home every day. Even as kids, they know their mother's health is deteriorating. Previously, they stayed away from her because of her appearance, but now they approach her. The suspect is still on the run. This time round, the police say they are seeking an arrest warrant to arrest him.
We so far made a follow-up to the first investigation, the initial investigation that we started. And there was a time we had information that the suspect called the victim. So the victim gave the number of the suspect to the police. So we tried calling him. We called him on the number, he picked the number, but when he detected that it was the police, he just disconnected that number, and since that I have not been able to get him on that line again. So, as for speaking to any of his relatives, no, we haven't done that, but we are intensifying our investigation. What we are doing now is we have got a photograph of the suspect and we are in the process of publishing him. We decided to go to court to take warrant of arrest and publish him through our chain of command, that we will send the picture to our authorities for him to be published so that the public will assist us in arresting him any moment from now. It's a matter of obtaining the warrant of of arrest from the court. The prosecutor has started the process. The only thing that will maybe delay small is that we have to pass it through the chain of command. We cannot just get up from the beginning here and do it.
Taxi drivers have volunteered to help search for the suspect.
Like, me share that in that way, but me say already I said a good wife. Now my surprise because me see any bad news to be on the way. To me it's my surprise because Bama de in Twitter obasa because oba like me say omo ye boafo.
Me won dwiri me see baby me hunu give and take be mention the number. We dey me hu say onim no ba nsa dey say young boy dey weekend we obefa kakra. Plan dey adwen wadwen say nsa say no no order that nsa kontimi nka say wa body ara wo betimi adwane. Obody ontimi nwane. Enti nani da ho. Wan kasa you know na mantie mfo bia no ba say action wa taking you na say wadwen ho dada. So obeye
me mama so ye twaba enko enhyeda enye eyisa isi no enti ema no enti be ma penyin no waje school sika semti waje school fie tisisi na ka wasa me koji kola ko me doctor be 2 weeks ni ye just ka kola na fanko hospital ebu okra ye solia ye de beto jani ma kola na kola ya na eho de me santo a mi school ni so ba sisi ewe na tie form 1 me ka me nya adwuma ebetimi aboa me betimi di ahwe kola no school a de aka we.
Interestingly, you knew this man. It's not always abuse. The relationship is not always abuse. There's something about this man you really appreciate. I forgot to add that one reason women stay is also genuinely, sincerely, they love the man.
Then love is overrated because it is becoming pain.
It's not always pain. That is where the lure is. It's not always pain. So abuse happens and the man becomes really your man because he gives you all the attention. There are people who have bought a ticket to go on vacation.
After they've been bitten?
Oh yes. They have bought the most expensive cars and the outing you have it. You want the man. Here is the man. Have him, whatever you say, he's at your beck and call at that moment. So you begin to see real love that you knew he's capable of giving you. So you and it goes on and on and on and on. So there are for some people the what you call the largesse or the pets, or the appeasement that comes after abuse is even more than the pain the experience. It just drowns the pain. Yes, for some people it just drowns the pain. But you see, the pain can never ever be drowned. It will just go into hibernation. And when it wants to surface, it will surface by itself again. So yes.
In a worse form.
In a worse form. So you must take decisive action when abuse happens, and you must not elevate being attached to a level of a tin god. As if when a woman is without a spouse or a man is without a spouse, the world has come to an end. When that happens, you settle in for all manner of indignities, that you are abused and still just, your ring is more important than your life. What is the point in dying with your ring on, really? What's the point? And you don't have to die that, needless death. In Akan, they say it's atofugu, premature death. You don't have to suffer that as a woman, and you don't have to suffer that as a man, So it's a real issue. You have the Isoricides, the wife killing, recently just coming up all of a sudden, and it's still happening, and it's as if society, everybody is just paying lip service, and we are not doing what we ought to be doing about it. It's not every relationship that is dysfunctional. There are very positive relationships. Not that we do not make noise about healthy relationships. They don't make news, do they? I think most men who go to church use the church as a cover to perpetrate mayhem on their families. And I think it is about time the church leadership spoke about these things. And I wouldn't want to believe that because the hierarchy of the church, mostly men, there is some kind of condoning going on there. That is not what I think is happening. But it is important that we highlight that. It is also important that the state provides protection, not only on the streets, okay? When the police, you see police chasing armed robbers, trying to, it is important that they do that. But there are many more people dying in the privacy of their homes as a result of gender-based violence, which we are not paying the same attention to. If you go to the domestic violence unit of the Ghana Police, is poorly resourced. Most people, officers, who don't want to be there. Why? Because there is no motivation for them. And there is no motivation because I think that the police administration doesn't pay the attention that it has to pay to issues about gender-based violence and resourcing the unit. And I think the media must not just be an occasional highlighting. It must be consistent, talking about it all the time, not only when the issues come up for discussion, but always reminding all of us that we must take care of ourselves, we must stop abuse. And I think as a nation we'll be going somewhere, particularly providing services for those who have become victims, shelters, free medical care, waiving off the hospital medical report. They pay to get medical report. And I think that we've been going around it in circles as a people. We need to call a spade, that it is obstructing justice, because most of the victims are poor, they are unable to pay, and so their perpetrators are left off the hook.
I think most of the victims who report are poor.
Most of the victims who report are poor. I agree with you. Absolutely. I agree 100%. They are poor. And those who have the wherewithal also are so incapable to report.
Yeah.
Women of class, the women of class I mentioned, those in management positions, those in high places, women in public life, may not be able to do that. And they will not be able to do that because, once again, well, someone will be sitting somewhere. As for you, you are married. You are married, so aren't you okay with your marriage? Well, what is the meaning of marriage if it will end your life, So, well, there are more we can do as a society, and the more we should do. We don't have time. We don't have time. It's urgent. We need to really, and I will urge our Ministry for Gender, Children and Social Protection to up their game. And if I may be permitted to just put in one appeal, I think it is unacceptable for the ministry to be overly mandated and not be given enough resources to work. It doesn't wash,
Till death.
Unfortunately, yes. Unfortunately, yes. It shouldn't happen that way. no one should endure abuse to the point of death. It is needless. It serves no purpose that you will endure abuse till point of death. That is a very, very needless death.